You're sitting in a tatami room on the top floor of a building in Kobe, Japan. It's 1981. The shoji screens are closed. Before you, kneeling in two perfect rows, are 17 men in dark suits, each with a small ceramic cup of sake in front of them. Their left hands are on their knees. Some of those hands are missing pinkies. The tip of the little finger cut off at the first knuckle, wrapped in silk, and presented to a previous boss as an act of penance. The air smells like incense and cedar. No one speaks until you speak. Your name is Kazuo Taoka, though that's not exactly who you are anymore. You are the Kumicho, the supreme boss of the Yamaguchi-gumi, the largest and most powerful Yakuza organization in the world. You command over 13,000 members across Japan. Your organization controls billions of dollars in revenue from construction, real estate, entertainment, gambling, prostitution, drug trafficking, and extortion. You have held this position for 35 years, longer than any Yakuza boss in history, and you have transformed the Yamaguchi-gumi from a regional dockworkers gang into a corporate criminal empire that rival nations envy. But let's go back. Let's go back to where this all started. You're born on March 28, 1913 in Kobe, a port city on the inland sea. Your parents die when you're young. You grow up in a world of dockworkers, stevedores, and street gangs, men who load ships and fight over territory. Post-war Japan is still decades away. This is Imperial Japan, rigid and hierarchical, but the underclass has its own hierarchy, and it's called the Yakuza. The Yakuza traces back centuries to the tekiya, peddlers, and bakuto, gamblers, of the Edo period. They are Japan's organized crime families, bound by complex codes of honor, loyalty, and ritual. Full-body tattoos, irezumi, cover their bodies in ornate images of dragons, carps, and warriors. The tattoos are applied by hand with wooden needles over hundreds of painful hours. They mark you as Yakuza for life. There is no going back. You joined the Yamaguchi-gumi as a young man. It's a mid-sized gang based in Kobe, controlling the entertainment district and the docks. You rise fast. You're intelligent, violent when necessary, and charismatic. In 1946, at 33 years old, you become the third Kumicho of the Yamaguchi-gumi. The organization has about 400 members. By the time you're finished, it'll have over 10,000. Your genius is structure. You study how legitimate corporations work, hierarchies, divisions, subsidiaries, and apply the same model to the Yamaguchi-gumi. Under your leadership, the organization expands from Kobe to Osaka, Tokyo, Kyoto, and eventually every major city in Japan. Each regional branch operates as a semi-autonomous subsidiary, paying tribute up the chain. You create a system of sakazuki, the ritual sharing of saka that binds boss and subordinate in a father-son relationship. These bonds are as binding as blood. More so, to break them is to invite death or exile. You diversify the organization's income. Traditional Yakuza revenue came from gambling halls and protection rackets. You add construction, bidding on public works contracts, controlling the labor supply, real estate, buying land through front companies, forcing out competitors, entertainment, owning nightclubs, bars, film production companies, loan sharking, becoming the shadow bank for businesses that can't get legitimate credit. At your peak, the Yamaguchi-gumi generates an estimated $80 billion per year. It's one of the largest economic entities in Japan, larger than many publicly traded corporations. You also enter politics. The Yakuza has always had ties to right-wing nationalist groups and conservative politicians. Under your leadership, these ties deepen. You provide street-level muscle for political campaigns. You suppress labor unions. You intimidate journalists. In return, politicians look the other way. The relationship is symbiotic and unspoken. Japan's economic miracle of the post-war era runs on a hidden engine, and that engine is partly yours. The code is everything. Yakuza life is governed by giri, duty, and ninjo, human feeling. The tension between the two is the heart of the culture. You owe absolute loyalty to your boss. Your boss owes protection and guidance to you. Disputes are settled through yubitsume, the ritual cutting of a finger joint. If you fail your boss or bring shame to the family, you cut the tip of your pinky with a tanto blade, wrap it in silk and present it. Each joint is an apology. Some men have lost 3 or 4 joints by the time they reach middle age. Violence is ever present but ritualized. War between families follows strict protocols. Civilians are not targeted, at least in theory. Drive-by shootings and ambushes happen, but but they are targeted at rival bosses and lieutenants, not random citizens. This is what separates the Yakuza from Western organized crime. In the eyes of the Japanese public, the illusion of honor, the illusion that the violence has rules. But it is an illusion. Behind the ceremonies and the codes, the Yakuza runs drugs. Methamphetamine has been Japan's hidden epidemic since the post-war era, and Yakuza families control its production and distribution. Trafficking. Women from Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe are brought to Japan for the sex trade. Extortion. Tekiya. Corporate racketeers buy shares in companies and threaten to disrupt shareholder meetings unless paid off. The Yakuza is not Robin Hood. It is a machine built on exploitation, dressed in tradition. In 1978, you survive an assassination attempt. A Korean gunman named Kang shoots you in the neck at a nightclub in Kyoto. The bullet lodges near your spine. You survive but are partially paralyzed. Your health declines over the next 3 years. On July 23, 1981, you die of a heart attack in Kobe. You are 68 years old. Your funeral is the largest in Yakuza history. Thousands of members attend. The procession stretches for miles. Police monitor every entrance but don't interfere. Japan watches its most powerful criminal buried with the pageantry of a statesman. After your death, the Yamaguchi-gumi fractures. A violent succession war erupts, the Yamaichi War, between factions loyal to different successors. Dozens are killed. Hundreds are arrested. The Japanese government, alarmed, passes the anti-organized crime law in 1992. The first legislation specifically targeting the Yakuza. Banks are prohibited from doing business with them. Real estate transactions are scrutinized. The era of open tolerance is over. But the Yakuza doesn't disappear. It evolves. Today, the Yamaguchi-gumi remains the largest Yakuza organization, with an estimated 8,200 members, though the numbers have declined steadily under legal pressure. They've moved deeper underground, into cybercrime, cryptocurrency fraud, and legitimate business fronts that are nearly impossible to trace. During natural disasters, Yakuza groups are often the first to deliver food, water, and supplies to affected communities. A public relations strategy that maintains their image as men of honor, even as their core business remains criminal. The full-body tattoos are rarer now. Younger members avoid them. They draw attention. The ritual finger-cutting continues but is declining. Japan's demographic crisis means fewer young men are joining. The Yakuza is aging, shrinking, and adapting. You're Kazuo Taoka, the Kumicho. You took a dockworkers gang and built it into an empire worth $80 billion. The largest criminal organization in the world. You governed through ritual, loyalty, and strategic violence. You sat in tatami rooms while men with missing fingers knelt before you and swore oaths in sake. You survived an assassination and died of natural causes, which in your world is the closest thing to victory. That's the truth about criminal empires. Some are built on cocaine, some on whiskey, some on blood. Yours was built on ceremony, on the idea that crime could be elevated to a code, that violence could be made sacred, that loyalty could be measured in severed fingers. But underneath the silk and the incense and the sacred was always the same thing: power, money, control, and the willingness to cut off whatever part of yourself the empire demands.